In this episode of Pimp My Truck, I take this air compressor here, which used to be on my boat. I used it for bottom jobs and diving and stuff like that. Now I wanted to put it on the truck, permanently install this thing so that I've always had compressed air for my tools or filling tires or whatever else I needed compressed air for. To make it fit nice and snug, I had to take it apart and fix some broken pieces and then put the whole assembly back together. This is not something I've ever done before. But diving ahead without knowing exactly how to do something is a sure way to learn something. Come along with me on this project. I hope you enjoy it. Maybe we'll learn something together. In my experience, there's no better way to figure out how something works than to take it apart. Okay, good. Alright, screw is stripped on this. So we're gonna have to get that open somehow. Flathead. There we go. I'm gonna have to break this, I think. Something tells me I'm gonna be bleeding in a second. There you are. Good thing I'm getting a new one of these. I've already ordered it and it's in the mail. Even though this pressure switch looked atrocious, it still worked. And it probably could have salvaged it even though the cover was now broken, but I knew that they were really cheap to replace, so I didn't bother keeping this one. I did take pictures of it earlier though, so I would know how to wire the new one when it got here. Alright, let's see if we can get you off of there. Helps when you turn it the right way. That's it, that's free. Now, what do you think? That might take some doing. Years of other projects have taught me that surface rust is not necessarily any indication that something doesn't work. The real trick is to see whether or not you can get those rusted bolts free. And when that does work, it's very satisfying. Hey, it turned. Dirty. If you've ever wrestled with rusty bolts, you'll appreciate this segment. I sprayed these a couple days ago with a penetrating lubricant. Might be the only reason I got these off. Like fleas off a dog. I think you can tell here the satisfaction I get from turning those bolts free. I've had this compressor for years now, and despite the fact that it lived most of its life in a damp engine compartment, I've always made it a routine to keep things pretty well oiled. That practice was paying off this day. Alright, not too shabby. Isolating all these components I thought was a good start to this project. Okay, time to reassemble.
Reassemble! Huh? Reassemble!
I think I can fit it in this back corner if I reconfigure this shelf a little bit. Then we can have our plumbing going down there and oh man. This thing is getting way out of control. I just ordered some stuff on Amazon, and yeah, this ought to be a very fun project. In order to protect the motor from anything maybe jostling around inside the truck and bumping into it, I needed a cage. And I happened to know where I might scavenge one, because in the yard there was a trailer full of metal that was meant to go to the recycle plant. All of us have used shopping carts before, but I for one had never realized what great steel they were made out of. I cut a few extra pieces so that I would have stuff to tinker with in the future. I wanted to keep every little bit of this shopping cart, but I gotta suppress that pack rat part of myself every once in a while. Just let it go, Marty. Let it go.
Hey, look what I found rolling around the back floor.
What's that? Ooh. Just what the doctor ordered.
And they actually feel pretty cool because I've been in the car all night.
Nice.
All right, I'll see you later.
Bye.
I guess they fell out and I couldn't reach them.
I appreciate the distraction from my friend George, and I'll save those blue cans for later. For now, there was fabrication to be done. I think we gotta move that as a doorstop, so that goes like that. And over here, we need hinges. That came off of there. That could go there. I truly am in my happy place when I am faced with problem solving and having to come up with solutions for things that need done. And one of the most fun projects I think I've ever had to deal with involved hinges. Coming up with a simple mechanical way to make a door swing without going out to the store and just buying one brings a heck of a lot of satisfaction. If there's any of you guys out there who have actually had to fabricate hinges before, you're probably nodding your head saying, yep, I know what you're talking about. There were many ways I could have made this happen, but this day I just looked around, saw what I had available, and using this wonderful little cutting tool that I've grown very fond of, I was able to get the job done. And by using parts of the shopping cart, it had a nice custom look, like that's exactly where the hinges belonged. Yeah. Alright, we'll get back to this, but for the meantime, I gotta make room here. It's very cluttered. Somebody out there has a topper and wishes they had a dog-proof screen, but I'll never use it, so it's gotta go. Sorry. shame. Sometimes to get ahead, you have to go backwards. They're on to me. Squishy. Thank you.
So I'm now a hands model. My hands are gonna be in your video.
Behind the scenes, that's the gate that is going to swing like this, and there's this no drill mechanism here that was holding the topper down, but it was in the way, and I could not go back and forth with it. So I drilled out a new hole next to that one that you can't see, and now there's a nut and a bolt. And honestly, I think that's a lot better than the factory gimmick of no drill. Anyways, I had to take this portion of the top out to get to it, and it's been a whole big rigmarole so I can put a piece of wood in there as a doorstop for the gate that I'm going to build. Anyways, that's a little behind the scenes of the after hours, me hanging out in my truck, the things I do to make videos for you guys. All right, back to the fast forward stuff. Sexiness. These cushion feet that came off of the compressor setup initially were to prevent vibrations that come from the motor, which was no longer attached to the tank. However, they were still attached to each other via a hard copper line, so I felt having some vibration dampening on both the tank and the motor was still probably a good idea. I wonder if you guys have thoughts on that or any other parts of this build. Feel free to leave a comment below. That's right, I'm using rivets. What can I say except I needed some fasteners and they just happened to fit the bill. I'm sure someday I'll live to regret my decision to use rivets instead of nuts and bolts. But alas, it is what it is. Plumbing. Huh. As usual, it required many trips to the store to get a little bit of something that I forgot when needed. I'll leave all that out of this video. Spare you the agony.
Thank you.
That'll do, pig. Cool. Well, that's all fine and good, but that's supposed to go in there. Okay. Here you are thinking I'm clever. Thank you. This is my least favorite kind of fishing. Godspeed, little wire. Gotcha. It wasn't so hard, was it? Gotcha. Gosh. Probably should have done this first, but I think I'm safe. I really didn't want to pierce that wire with any screws, but I also really wanted to finally attach these battery hangers. After seeing a buddy do this with all of his DeWalt batteries, I decided I just had to have that level of organization myself. Nice. Nothing quite like hand drilling a screw, but that'll work. That'll keep things from touching my motor. It's okay, motor, you'll be okay. Okay. Using the bottom part of that milk crate that I cut up, I make some protection for the air regulator and have another momentary lapse of reason of the rivet kind. Obviously, I have no love for rivets, but you can see in this real-time footage here that it doesn't take too long to put them together, and I guess they hold okay. Maybe someday I'll get over my hatred of rivets. But aside from the necessity of needing some fasteners this day, I still think that it can be a screw or a nut and bolt anytime. Tell me I'm wrong. One thing I will say is that rivets do give it a factory look, because factories like to use rivets all the time. So I guess I got that going for me. This little doohickey is a regulator and a dryer for the air lines, and I certainly didn't want anything bumping into it that might roll around in the bed of the truck. This little makeshift riveted monstrosity ought to do the trick. Over there. And it still allowed me access in case I needed to change the regulated line pressure. Next up was to connect all the fittings. I did that with 1/4 inch push-in lines. This is such a simple technique, and you wouldn't think that it would actually hold up to big air pressure, but it does. All you gotta do is push it into the connector. No tools needed. It blows my mind every time I install an airline like this that it actually holds pressure. That's nice and easy. I like easy. Yes, I do. We'll zip tie these later, keep them away from that hot thing. There you go. That's it. That should do it. Okay, we're going to do a quick test run. We're going to flip the switch and we're going to see if the gauges move and if anything leaks. Tripped the Rega. That's not good. I finally got a little pressure. Seems to be holding. But the breaker is tripping. Replacing the circuit breaker made all the difference. Now it was time for the charging system. Well, I needed to devise a way to hang the solar panels, so I went back into scavenge mode, and I found some metal strapping here that would do nicely. Once again, using what you got laying around to build what you need is very satisfying. I decided I would use the same mounting holes that held the big screen into the windows. And because I held on to the hardware that held that screen in there, I had all the screws I needed to hold the panels in place. After gathering those recycled screws and some nuts and bolts, I just needed to drill some holes in my recycled strapping. And for all you solar panel nerds out there, I did try to work in the shade as much as I could, so not to cute myself. Once in a great while, I try to do what's right. Good. I wonder what it looks like on the outside. I tried to give the wiring the same care and precision that I gave to the plumbing, and strap everything down so that it wouldn't get jostled around. And I even put a wooden barrier up so paddles wouldn't slide into the wiring whenever I got back from kayaking. Finally, it was time to wrap everything up, put everything away, and call this project finished. I tested out the USB section of this charge controller to see if it would charge my phone. And sure enough, I was using the sun to charge my phone now. It always seems like magic to me. Not only that, it was going to charge the battery that runs the compressor. And I had a bunch of drawers now in the back of the truck for all the tools and stuff that I seem to think I have to have all the time. Very good. Obviously, I like organization very much. Good, good. Well, that turned out to be a really good way to clean up my truck, because it seems like I got a lot more space in here. Isn't that nice? Oh yeah, and from now on, if I want to use my nail gun, it's right here where I need it. And I've got air. And with the flip of a switch, compressor comes on, powered by the sun. Not too shabby, huh? Seems my quick connect has a little bit of a leak. Might be this, I'm not sure, but we'll save that for the next time. Thanks for coming along.